This episode is brought to you by Black Butler, Parody of the Phantomhives, a Black Butler abridged series / parody. And by Midnight Musicals. Welcome to the podcast Musical Underground, coming in early 2021. Thank you. Greetings, mortals. Welcome to another session of the Infernal Court in Musical Hell. I'm Diva, your judge, jury, executioner, and fabulous rock superstar. There is a special place in my particular section of the Inferno for movies built around hit recording artists. Oh, they're not all terrible. Every so often you get A Hard Day's Night or some of the better titles on Elvis's IMDb page. But when they're bad, they rank from insufferably dumb to literally the worst film I have ever seen. And it's time to see where our next offender, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, falls on that scale. I have come to the conclusion that Kiss is essentially the Liberace of rock and roll. Stay with me on this. In terms of technical musical prowess, both Kiss and Liberace are good enough. They don't rank among the virtuosos of the art, but neither are they going out there and embarrassing themselves. So, what sets them apart from the crowd?
Presentation!
Yes, just as Mr. Showmanship had his elaborate capes and rhinestone everything, Kiss had their iconic makeup, superhero-esque personas, and spectacular concert effects. Say what you want, it works. And in 1978, it was working so well that Kiss was sitting on an avid fan base and a nice little merchandising empire. So it's no surprise that Hollywood came calling. What is surprising is that the calling was done by Hanna-Barbera. Yes, that Hanna-Barbera. Although when you consider the script, involving magical powers, killer robots, and the villain wreaking vengeance on a theme park, maybe it's not so surprising after all. The filming, done mainly at what is now Six Flags Magic Mountain, had the usual mess of production issues exacerbated by the fact that the band was firmly in the drugs and alcohol abuse phase of stardom. Here's a fun drinking game. Take a shot every time Ace Frehley is obviously being understudied by his black stunt double. To this day, Kiss's reactions to the film have ranged from ironic amusement to, let's never speak of this again. So let's examine the case of Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park to see what my reaction is. The credits take place accompanied by some theme park footage and rock and roll all night, while Gene Simmons goes all kaiju over a roller coaster. Ah, yes, when I think Kiss, I think marching band music. We'll be seeing a lot of theme park footage, especially in this first act, and that's sin number one. If I wanted to see a lot of theme park rides, there's more than enough videos on YouTube to accommodate that need. During the Magic Mountain B-roll, an exposition announcer helpfully informs us that Kiss has a 3-night engagement at the park starting tonight. The park owner, Richards, is eager for the influx of income, but Security Officer Sneed is worried that the concert will bring too many of the darn kids these days with their rock music and hooliganism. We see 3 such specimens causing trouble in the park, tripping acrobats, and cutting lines and such.
You talking to us?
What's your beef? You a cop?
It's cool. Chopper and Slime don't hurt nobody unless they want to.
Fun.
But the concert is also anticipated by more wholesome types, like young lovers Melissa and Sam. Sam is working at the park to save up money for their marriage. It was the 70s, you could still imagine building a life together on a theme park salary. And he has to get on the job, but he promises to meet Melissa later. Melissa is sadly disappointed in that, as Sam instantly goes snooping around some old Phantom of the Paradise set pieces and instantly gets swallowed up by a secret passage. As Melissa goes searching for Sam, we switch to Richards and the park engineer, Abner Devereaux. Devereaux is also not too thrilled with this whole Kiss thing, as it's taking away money he needs for research and development. This is our first indication that Devereaux is an unstable mad scientist type.
They're just blaming me for everything. Of course things malfunction. Every new piece of equipment has a shakedown period.
And there's the second indication. I give it about 15 minutes before Devereaux starts ranting about how they all laughed at him at the university, but soon we shall see who laughs last. Oh, and Devereaux's big passion is animatronic figures, which do not look very impressive to start off with.
Simon is a very delicate creature. It took nearly a year and $30,000 to perfect him. Come on, perfection? You call some baboon doing a herky-jerky perfection?
I'm kinda with Greasy McThug here. Regardless, Devereaux gives the trio of miscreants free tickets to the Chamber of Thrills, which isn't sinister at all. Meanwhile, there's a makeup contest going on, and Melissa is looking for her boyfriend, and one of the rides goes out of control, and sin number 2, wasn't Kiss supposed to be in this movie? Look, I get wanting to build up suspense. As long as we're on the subject of phantoms, the operatic one doesn't appear in his musical until around the 20-minute mark, and is on stage for only about 40 minutes total. But he's supported by a persistent sense of anticipation and danger that keeps things going even when the character, who is by far the most interesting in the story, isn't physically present. The only reason anybody might possibly want to see this movie is Kiss, but they don't show up until about a third of the way into the film, and the parts without them are pretty dull. And yes, the band has problems of their own when they do show up, mostly of the really not good at this whole acting thing variety.
Jean's clean.
A pussycat. Almost.
But still, they are the main draw to this entire enterprise, and without them, the whole thing goes from being a silly movie featuring an iconic rock group to just a silly movie. The local security guards aren't that interested in helping Melissa locate Sam, because like all movie security guards, they're functionally useless. But they do point her in the direction of Devereaux's underground laboratory.
Underground?
Yeah, way underground.
Devereaux sees Melissa snooping around the outskirts of his villain lair with his all-powerful surveillance system, and when he hears she's looking for Sam, he decides to let her in and show her some of his cool new animatronics. But he claims not to have seen Sam for several days, a lie immediately revealed after Melissa leaves, and Sam is shown with a mind-control doohickey on his neck.
You're less curious now, but far more effective.
But Devereaux has other evil work to do, namely abducting the trio of thugs when they wander into the Chamber of Thrills, and who helpfully accommodate him by pulling the old "you wait here, I'll be right back" routine. In between Devereaux abducting the random thugs and turning them into American history exhibits, we get to the main plot thread. See, Richards is no longer able to condone the safety risk posed by Devereaux's experimental but dangerously malfunctioning park equipment, and he gives the inventor his walking papers. Devereaux, mad scientist that he is, doesn't take it well and vows Richards will regret this, and he swears revenge on Kiss too because he thinks their appearance at the park is somehow also responsible for this. Speaking of, it's finally time for the main event. So yeah, as previously mentioned, Kiss has superpowers in this movie, which, since their stage look is based on comic book characters, is not as dumb of an idea as it might sound. Jean Demon Simmons breathes fire and speaks with an impressive reverb. Paul Starchild Stanley has an I-beam that does assorted plot-specific things. Space Ace Frehley can teleport himself and others. And Peter Catman Chris does cat-type stuff. And of course, all four provide the movie with ample concert footage.
Shout it out loud!
After the concert, Melissa goes backstage and sees Sam, who has been sent by Devereaux to get photos of each band member. She's obviously distressed when Sam walks by her without so much as a word, but Kiss learns of her problem through telepathy, plot device something, and offers their assistance. Little do they know that they themselves are in danger as Devereaux's evil plan goes into action. Wow, Devereaux will really need to up his android game if he wants to successfully recreate Gene Simmons' tongue action. The Robo-Demon wreaks havoc on the park and a couple of security guards who maintain their proud tradition of functional uselessness.
Now what?
A word about the underscore. If this this sounds like something Scooby and the gang should be sneaking around to, you're not too far off the mark. It was done by Hoyt Curtin, house composer for Hanna-Barbera, who provided music for them for over 50 years. Unfortunately, it clashes with the hard rock sound of our title band, so it's sin number 3. So the next morning, Richards and the security staff find Kiss chilling by the pool as best they can while keeping with their aesthetic, and they accuse...
Points to me.
You and this whole place, you haven't been upfront with me.
Well, enough of that scene. We're back with Melissa interrogating Devereaux, who gives her a security pass. Get used to these abrupt scene changes. There are a lot of them in this movie. Bottom line, Gene's bandmates vouch for his innocence, and though Richards is not convinced, he'd rather save any arrests until after the big revenue-generating concerts are done with. Meanwhile, Kiss takes Melissa into their confidence and show her the talismans which give them their superpowers. Unfortunately for them, Melissa's security pass has been bugged by Devereaux, so he now knows about the magic MacGuffins and sends Sam to steal them. Burglary shenanigans ensues. Unaware of the ransacking of their base, Kiss decides to take it down a little.
I think I hear them calling. Oh, Beth, what can I do?
It kills me that I'm going to have to mark Beth as sin number 5, as it's not only a lovely song, it's the only one not performed in a concert setting and the only one that has anything resembling plot relevance and emotional depth, as Kiss is apparently trying to comfort Melissa with it. Which would have worked a lot better if A, this scene were set up in any way, shape, or form, or B, the female lead was actually named Beth. Come on, naming your characters for song lyrics is like Jukebox Musical 101. Oh, and the random cuts to Sam zombie crashing around Kiss's suite don't help either. Sam's attempt to steal the talismans activates the cosmic force field protecting them. There's a cosmic force field protecting them. Did I mention that? Melissa sees him leaving the scene of the crime, and her screams at his unnatural state alert the band, who quickly determine what has happened.
They've fallen into the wrong hands.
There are no right hands except ours. We must protect the power.
And it's time once again for...
You make the call.
Kiss has discovered a failed attempt to steal the magic talismans which give them superpowers and could be dangerous if they fell into the wrong hands. Should they A. move the talismans to a more secret, secure location, B. keep the talismans on their persons and not let them out of their sight, or C. just leave them where they are while they go search the park, leaving them vulnerable for a second and probably more successful theft attempt.
But are you sure they'll be safe here?
They always have been, thanks to the force field.
After Wonder Woman jumping over the park fence, the band seeks out Devereaux while contending with his mechanical monstrosities. At first, it finally looks like we might get some decent camp in this movie, as Kiss does battle with a pack of robo-monkeys. But it gets old very quickly as the band members half-heartedly go through several underlit fight scenes while Devereaux just kind of hangs out in his villain lair and does nothing. A glam metal group with superpowers fighting the evil robot henchmen of a subterranean-dwelling mad scientist should not be this dull. Devereaux sends Sam after the talismans again, this time with a ray gun that neutralizes the force field. Meanwhile, Kiss has worked their way past the martial arts stereotype robots and the creepy carousel and into the Chamber of Thrills.
Do something! Do something! Do something!
So it's Kiss vs. Robots round 3, but this time the fight isn't as one-sided as Devereaux uses the ray gun to neutralize the talismans. They still manage to put in a good effort before Devereaux gets bored and sucks them up into some air ducts, trapping them in one of those laser cages evil masterminds always seem to have around.
Gentlemen, enjoy yourself.
Sweet Lucifer, Devereaux, you're doing a really lousy job at the explaining your evil plan to the captive heroes part of your job. Allow me. Basically, Devereaux's evil android Kiss doppelgangers will incite a riot at the concert, destroying the park and besmirching the group's reputation forever. And they will do this by singing alternate lyrics, I guess?
Let's tear this place down!
Luckily, Devereaux has the leave the heroes unattended so they can escape part down, so they retrieve their talismans by using the Force. There's less than 10 minutes left in the movie, we don't have time for explanations. And they fly to the concert stage just as things are starting to get out of control, engaging in a fight to the finish with their evil robot doubles. It's a lot less interesting than it sounds. The robots are defeated, the park is saved, and the true Kiss takes to the stage in triumph. But wait, wasn't there an evil genius and a mind-controlled boyfriend and stuff to take care of?
He created Kiss to destroy Kiss, and he lost.
Are you kidding me? After all that, Devereaux just, I don't even know, dies or gets taken over by his own tech or something? Who thought that was a good conclusion? How does Paul just suddenly know where Sam's mind control doohickey is and how to remove it? Are the random thugs just stuck being animatronics for the American adventure? And what about Scarecrow's brain? Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park was never going to be good, but at least it had the potential to be good camp. On paper, the plot sounds like it could rival Rocky Horror Picture Show and The Apple in terms of pure batshit crazy. But the results are one underwhelming scene after another, frequently with disorienting abruptness, interspersed with Magic Mountain stock footage and a couple of plot cul-de-sacs. Only die-hard Kiss fans are likely to be interested in this one, and given how little the band and their music actually figure in the film, I'm not sure I'd recommend it to them either. Therefore, the Court of Musical Hell orders the following punishments. For being a generally disappointing and anticlimactic villain, Abner Devereaux is condemned to take remedial classes from Scooby-Doo antagonists. For providing an underscore ill-suited to the adventures of a glam rock group, Hoyt Curtin is condemned to have a romantic dinner accompanied by death metal. And finally, for the tedious theme park experience that was this movie, writers Jan Michael Sherman and Don Boudet are condemned to an eternity in the Hall of Presidents. So let it be recorded. This session of the Infernal Court in Musical Hell is now adjourned.